Welcome to the Good Work Show. Learn more at goodwillng.org. And now, your hosts, Elaine Armstrong.
Audience, thank you so much. It's another Saturday, and it's the Good Work Show. We hope you're excited about today's show because we are. We've got some in-studio guests.
I know. We love it when people come visit us.
Exactly. Yep. So this is...
Have a full house today.
Oh, we got a full house today. We don't always have a full house, but it's actually good because we've got two fine gentlemen who are going to come on the show today from A.G. Rhodes Health and Rehab. And you know what? So I know the PR person at A.G. Rhodes, Mary Olson, and she's really cool. She's a member of PRSA, and so am I. And you know what she said? Oh, I love the Good Work Show. I listen to you on Saturdays. I wonder if we could get A.G. Rhodes on. And I was like, oh, of course we can.
All you have to do is start out by saying, I love the Good Work Show.
Exactly. That's automatic entry. As even if you've listened it's automatic entry into the show. But no, A.G. Rhodes is a great organization. They're doing fantastic work. They've been around for a long time. So it would be good to hear from John Abel and Kirk Hines, who are doing therapy in unique ways with people who are at the rehabilitation center. And so sometimes they have residents who live with them and then some who maybe stay for a little while, but very cool stuff that they're doing and not what you would think of a traditional rehabilitation center where folks may go in and maybe you just think they maybe only do exercise or maybe they do a few little things. They're doing something with you know, gardening and with music, and it's just really cool. So I'll be glad to hear from them a little bit later.
I think everybody says you've heard that, you know, kind of like the old wives' tale. You know that music heals people. So we know that, you know, music really does key into your emotions. It takes you to a point in time. It has the power to do that. But then also kind of getting your hands in the soil, that really does something for folks. I know that there are actual real therapeutic things that come from what these folks do, and they're going to tell us all about it. So like practical things, but I think also there's something good about just getting in there and getting your hand, making things grow. I think that's good for you.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I'm not really much of a gardener.
Oh, me either. This is all things that I've heard.
Okay, so just nothing from me. I mean, I've worked in like my flower beds at my house that don't have any flowers in them. They have, you know, shrubs and stuff in them. But I get the weeds out, and it's
good.
I wouldn't necessarily call it therapeutic because after it, my back is hurting. So, I mean, I need therapy after that. Like physical therapy, but it does give me a sense of pride to walk past there and see that there's no weeds in there.
Well, there you go.
So
that's something.
That's an accomplishment because this year when I had to do it for the first time, it was kind of bad. So it took me all day. Yeah.
You don't have to weed silk plants.
No, you don't. But I don't know that you should have silk plants either.
Well, inside the house, I mean, you can do that. Though I have seen people who've planted silk flowers, and they have the most beautiful yards
all year long.
All year long.
They planted them, or they just put them because you
they're
know
artfully arranged.
Okay. Oh wow.
With purpose.
That is so interesting.
I won't say who it is.
Okay. Well, don't say it.
I don't think they're listening.
Okay.
You know who you are.
Oh. Okay.
But so
well, you know, we're gonna let John and Kirk come in and tell us about what they do at A.G. Rhodes. I think it'd be a cool conversation. And if anybody, you know, the times are changing, and so now we have more baby boomers. We have people who are living longer, and there may be opportunities, or maybe needs that, you know, the listeners have where they need to go to an A.G. Rhodes, and they need to find somewhere for their grandparents or their parents to go and get really the treatment that they need. And this is a great opportunity to find out about an organization that's doing that, and a great nonprofit that's been serving the community for quite a long time.
A really long time. So
yeah.
I'm excited to hear what they have to say.
Yeah. And then later on in the show, we are going to switch gears a little bit and talk to one of the participants in our Good Biz at Goodwill program, Frank Bryant, who is an author, and he's written a children's book sort of about his life and how he'd overcome some challenges in life. So I think that'd be kind of cool to have an author on, but also somebody who's going through and trying to create a business around what he's doing. And so I think that's actually really cool.
There's always opportunities to help people, and really the most helpful way is for your book to be successful. So, more eyes, the more lives you can change. So it's really cool to get this perspective from him, to not just hear about what he's doing in his story, but then also how he's working with Goodwill, which we love to hear, on how to get that story out there. So that'll be interesting.
Yep. And he's done a lot of media. So, when I heard about him, and he's been like on CNN and TV1 and a bunch of he's just been everywhere talking about his book and inspiring people. So I think that's cool. So, we're right up there with CNN.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're the same.
We're in the same city.
Exactly.
It counts.
Yes. Yeah, so anyway, so those are we're going to have 3 great guests on the show. So we hope, audience, that you're going to stay with us throughout the remainder of the time and just listen to what they have to say, because it should be pretty fun.
So what else is going on, Elaine? Did we introduce ourselves today?
Maybe. We have regular listeners. They know who I am. They know I'm Elaine Armstrong, right? And they know you're Trinice Lyons.
I'm Trinice Lyons,
yeah,
so
there
sure.
You go.
It's just, we went through that whole thing. I'm like, wait a minute, did we miss something at the beginning? But that's okay.
Yeah, well,
we were very excited about the show. We just jumped right in there.
We did jump right in. Yeah, but you know what? So, audience, if you're new and you're just you turned in and you're like, who are these people on the radio? You know what? This is the Good Work Show, and we bring you good news and talk about good things that are happening in our community. In fact, our tagline really is to highlight the good that makes Atlanta work. We're sponsored by Goodwill of North Georgia, which is where Trinice and I work, and we're team members in the marketing department. And we just like to come on the radio and talk to community leaders and nonprofits who are doing great things. We've been on the air for a couple of years now, and started out with another co-host, and he left us, went to the West Coast.
How dare he?
I know, right? He went to actually work at another Goodwill, but now I get to co-host with Trinice, which has actually been pretty fun. And she's brought a lot of guests on, which is good because,
I'm trying to pull my weight here.
Yeah, well, you have to, because there's only 2 of us.
Right. I'm having a lot of fun, so I want to make sure that I get to stay.
Yeah.
So
the females are a lot more fun.
Oh, hey, that was our producer, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Absolutely. You know what we haven't done in a while, Elaine? We haven't given folks the email address.
Oh, we should.
So that they can make suggestions, let us know. I like feedback as long as it's positive. So
that's a little biased, You can't ask for feedback and tell people what they should say.
Well, I'm just saying what I like.
Okay.
So what I prefer.
Okay.
So if you want to let us know what you think, email us, or if you think that you'd be a great guest for the show, or work with a nonprofit or an organization or a person that you think would be great to be on the show, in all seriousness, we would love to have you email us. It's goodworks@ging.org. Share those names with us. That's how we, get guests on the show. Folks, let us know, hey, this group would be great. They're doing awesome stuff. We know some things, but we don't know everything. So help us out and, get folks on the show that you want to hear.
Exactly. Yep. And we've gotten a lot of really good recommendations. I think last week was how we got all of our guests on. And of course, like I said, I know Mary, and so she suggested it. But anytime, if you see us out and about, or you happen to visit Goodwill, or you just want to email us, I think those are all great opportunities. And even if you wanted to shout us out on social media, Sydney Keita, she's our communications specialist at Goodwill. She's the one sort of behind all of our social media posts, but she also posts things about the Good Work Show on our Facebook page and on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And so if you're interested and you want to connect with us that way, we'd love for you to give us a shout out and tell us who you'd like to feature on social media. That'd be great. A great way to do it if you just don't want to remember the email address, if it's too long.
This is a collaboration. We're all in this together.
Exactly.
So it takes all of us to make a great show.
Yep. And it does. It takes a lot of people to come up with the great ideas. But you know what? We don't know everybody. Like you said, we don't know all of the nonprofits. We don't know everybody who's doing great work. We've had so many organizations on that I never knew existed before I came on the show. And I'm so much better for them, because now we're hearing about people that we really could connect to others, which is the other thing is like being a community connector. And I bet you there are some folks that we could connect Frank to, who have been on the show before to help him with his book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's one way we help people on the show. We connect them with others, but also we also do a job tip. And so we started this on the show a long time ago, really, almost when we started producing the show. But we have someone who works at Goodwill who comes on and just gives a weekly job tip about some advice that they want to give a job seeker who needs the help and maybe wants some advice from someone who's got a job.
So we know that these are people that are out there and they're forwarding our mission to put people to work. So we know they've got good advice. So let's hear what it is.
All right.
Goodwill of North Georgia's Job Tip of the Week.
Hi, my name is Tanea Peters, and I work in the Finance Department of Goodwill of North Georgia. My job tip for the day would be to continue your education. It doesn't stop after you've gotten the job. You should continue with your higher learning, freshen your skills, and always be ready to learn.
Another job tip brought to you by Goodwill of North Georgia. And back to the Good Work Show.
Audience, thank you so much for joining us on the Good Work Show and hanging in there with me and Trinice. You know, we're excited because we have two guests in the studio today. We have John Abel, who's a music therapist, and Kirk Hines, who's a horticultural therapist. I can't even say it. At AG Rhodes Health and Rehab. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
having us.
So I really got to know. Tell me first about AG Rhodes, but you guys have some unique job titles, so we got to get into that. But tell us about AG Rhodes first.
Sure. AG Rhodes is one of Atlanta's oldest nonprofits. It's subacute rehab and long-term care. We have residents who live with us, but we also have people who come in for therapy for several weeks and then plan to go back home.
Wow, that's one of the oldest. So we like to brag that Goodwill's 90. How old is AG Rhodes? Because you guys, if you're one of the oldest, you got to be older than 90.
I didn't know that there'd be math involved, but it is 112 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very old for Atlanta.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you guys have been around for a long time, doing really great work for a long time. And like Elaine said, your job titles are really interesting. So we'd love to hear from both of you exactly how does being a music therapist and a horticultural therapist,
It's hard
to get your mouth around that word. How does that weave into what you're doing at AG Rhodes?
Well, as a music therapist, I'm using music with our residents and our patients. And for the most part, I'm playing guitar and I'm singing, and they're involved in the music. So they're actively involved either through singing with me, or they're playing some different rhythm instruments, or they're moving to the music. So they're engaged in these different ways, which helps to stimulate their minds and their bodies, and the benefits they receive are through those activities that they're involved in.
Absolutely. How did you find that job? So you have to be a musician, obviously. Because if I were going there with my guitar, it wouldn't be therapy. It would be a little scary. So how do you fall into that line of work in doing something, but also using your passion to help others?
Well, music therapy training, you're in a school of music, already in that program, so you're studying a principal instrument and you're taking theory and composition, all the usual classes. But then with music therapy, there's core music therapy courses, also statistics, anatomy and physiology, so it all kind of intertwines in that. For me, I was a music major and found out that there was such a thing as music therapy and fell in love with that idea and have been doing it for almost 30 years.
Wow.
Thanks. So Kirk, I'm not even doing it again. So.
Yeah, you say your title and tell us what it is.
I'm a registered horticultural therapist.
Oh, you could say it great.
Yeah. Trips right off
A
the
lot
tongue.
of practice. I will say that you have a greater chance of seeing Sasquatch than seeing a registered horticultural therapist. There aren't that many of us. It makes AG Rhodes very unique. It's one of the very few programs of its kind in the state and in the region. But we use horticulture as a therapy treatment modality to address patient goals. I assess a patient's needs, and then I design some type of horticultural task to meet those needs. So we have therapeutic greenhouses at two of our buildings, we have 3 AG Rhodes in Atlanta, and we have therapy gardens that are accessible, raised beds, lots of herbs, flowers. We're growing vegetables, fruit even. So it's quite nice. And patients are able to go out in the garden. When the weather's not good, we'll work together at a table, and we'll propagate cuttings, sow seeds, all types of things, orchids, bonsai, you name it. I try to have everything that someone could possibly want to do in horticulture, and using that, you're able to capture and snag their imagination and really encourage them to take part in their therapy.
Absolutely. That's cool. So do they, I'm sure that you do, but the patients, they get to reap the benefits of those things that they've planted. So you mentioned some vegetables and things. I'm sure that all gets incorporated into the meals and everything at AG
It does. We'll grow, for instance, we grew Calamundan oranges in our greenhouse. They're little tiny sour oranges, and we used them as part of a rehab treatment group. So we have kitchens in all of our rehab gyms, and patients can work in the kitchen to make sure that they're safe and have the skills they need to return home. And we picked 15 pounds of oranges off of one small tree out of the greenhouse. And a dear friend of mine who used to work on Food Network came, and we made orange marmalade. Nice. So it's very practical, very functional. We'll grow tomatoes and make caprese salads, anything to really engage the residents and the patients and do things that you would do at home.
That sounds, I mean, it's really interesting to have a way, these sound like such unique therapies and opportunities for folks to learn things about themselves and to grow their skill sets and, come back, get them back to where they might have been. So that sounds really interesting. Do you guys have any stories about exactly how that came to pass? So, success stories that came from some of your therapy sessions.
Yeah, there's one woman that I've been working with. Kirk and I have been with AG Rhodes about 2.5 years. So considering the age of AG Rhodes, we're pretty young for that institution. But one woman who was very disengaged in my conversations with her, but in music therapy sessions, after a while she would become more engaged and she would respond to verbal interactions. And it was almost to a point that, she was a different person in music therapy. So at after one of the sessions, she was in her room and we were conversing, and a physician came by and saw that I was conversing with her and said, I didn't realize that so-and-so even was, verbal. And here he was, because of the music therapy, because of the effect that it has on her, it was very transformative.
I bet you have some stories, too, about people. I could imagine, for both of you even, but motor skills and things that we think about when, when our parents or grandparents are aging and they're not able to do, but things that they might be doing with their hands, whether they're playing an instrument or planting something or peeling an orange even, could be very therapeutic, and just to sort of build those skills back up.
Absolutely. It's very practical. If you look at gardening and you break it down as a task, you're using fine motor skills, gross motor skills, standing, balance, range of motion, even planning, memory, sequencing, all of these great things. So that translates over to rehabilitation very naturally. Working together, potting small cuttings, translates over to buttoning your shirt or doing something, standing in the bathroom at the mirror. So it's something, but it's not clinical in the sense that you're not in a sterile environment. You're in a garden. You're in a very organic environment, the greenhouse. So it's stimulating to your senses. It causes you to relax, and then you're able to fully engage in therapy and get better.
Wow.
I'm thinking about my grandfather. He had a garden his whole life, and every summer we were in charge of picking things. But literally up until he died, he was in his early 90s, but until the year before he passed away, he was still in his garden, planting peas. So we know that there was that definite tie to staying active and healthy. So my grandfather was 90, so we know it was good for him. But, we have a couple more minutes before we go to break, but how can the things that folks at your center get out of the therapy sessions that both of you do, How can it translate to anybody? Just spending time in the garden, listening or playing music. What are the benefits of that to just anyone listening today?
Well, musically, I often tell people to really be more focused on the music you're listening to. And music can elicit different responses from you personally. So something I suggest is creating a music journal. So you're listening to a specific type of music or a certain artist, and you're writing down how that makes you feel. Does it increase your anxiety? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel more energized? And then taking that information and listening to music at times when you want to feel more energized. That when I listen to this type of music, this is the way it made me feel. I want to get there, so let's use that music therapeutically by yourself.
Yeah. I bet you if I had a music journal, it would look like it wouldn't look very good. I mean, because there are some times where you want to hear a ballad, but then sometimes you really have to listen to like gangster rap or something. I mean, you might have to. I mean, just to get through that portion of your day or whatever you're dealing with. So I'd have a pretty like schizophrenic.
I feel
journal.
that way about my iTunes playlist and my streaming system. Those streaming things, the stations you build. It's very personal. Like I'm always like, no, you can't look at that.
That's right. Yeah. I don't think you're alone. I mean, people are all over the map with what they listen to.
Absolutely. Well, this has been really good. I want to make sure that we get into a little bit more about AG Rhodes, but also more about how you guys are transforming the folks that you are serving, and it's transforming their lives and their families' lives, I'm sure. So we have to take a break, but when we come back, audience, we want to talk to John and Kirk a little bit more, and I bet you we've got some more questions that we could come up. I mean, your jobs are just so incredibly interesting, and I think it'd be fun, but also to talk a little bit more about what else AG Rhodes is doing. If you guys got events coming up, how can people find you? Because I know if my grandmother recently passed, but if she were in need of somewhere to go, I would want her to come to you guys, because this is really a holistic experience, I think, for those folks who are in need. So can you hang on, take a break with us, and come back?
Sure, definitely.
You're listening to The Good Work Show.
And back to The Good Work Show.
Audience, thank you so much for sticking with us. Trinice and I are talking to in the studio. We've got John Abel, music therapist, and Kirk Hines, horticulture therapist. Wait, did I get it right?
Horticultural therapist.
Okay, well, darn.
Closer.
We lost a syllable.
From AG Rhodes Health and Rehab, and these gentlemen are awesome with their roles. They have very unique roles at AG Rhodes. You know what, John? We were talking about you being a music lover, but also finding out that you could take what you love to do and help others through it and becoming a therapist at it. So, you know what? So tell us about Songs for Seniors. Got a cool name for it. So I'm just imagining maybe you're playing the songs, but are the seniors playing the songs? Is there like a concert? Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's part of our music therapy program. What it is, it's a way for us to set up iPods and specific playlists for our residents. So from my standpoint as a music therapist, it's a way for me to be much more directive about the music that our residents listen to when I'm not there. If they're not in music therapy, they're able to access this 24 hours a day, and they can listen to. What we'll do, we'll set up a playlist of about 100 songs. And if we can get information from the resident, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll talk to the family and find out the songs that are really meaningful to them. They really, bring back memories for them. And then we set up the playlist, and then they have access to it 24 hours a day. So it's a great way for them to really benefit from music, outside of a music therapy session.
Yeah. So what's the top song for
I was
seniors?
so about to ask that. I really want to know.
What's on the most played list for seniors?
Well, it does vary. We were saying, everybody's playlist is a little different. But from a music therapy standpoint, You Are My Sunshine's got to be number one. I mean, when I look at effectiveness of songs, whether it's participation through singing or through familiarity, that's probably number one.
Yeah.
But
So-
it really varies on the person.
So not your gangster rap playlist, not so much on that one.
You would not be playing, the soundtrack to Straight Outta Compton. That
No.
wouldn't necessarily
Not
fit.
yet, at least.
But if we wait another 20 years and our generation starts making our way, the playlist will change.
It's shifting. I've worked with John for 20 years, and back in the day, his playlist was much different from the seniors now.
Mm-hmm.
It really has shifted.
Yeah, I mean, I can get away with some music from the 50s and 60s,
Nice.
even 70s,
Yeah.
which when we started, it was, I couldn't, at least I could play those, but the songs weren't familiar.
Yeah.
Right.
But now they are.
Yeah, and it's so related to your memories and what is important to you. So I think the fact that you're able to talk to the family and sort of gain some of that knowledge is very,
Right.
very important and critical to how those songs are going to be therapeutic to the patient. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
So, John, you talked about songs for seniors, but Kirk, can you talk to us about seeds for seniors?
Seeds for Seniors. It's part of the horticultural therapy program, and it's a way for the community to participate and help to support the horticultural therapy program. As you can imagine, as we're working with soil and pots and plants, it exhausts, and I use quite a bit as through the week. So it's a way that community members perhaps could donate and help support with materials, even volunteers supporting our program. So it all goes in together to help support our facilities and the materials that I use in horticultural therapy.
So if somebody were to volunteer, or if you owned a nursery or somewhere and you wanted to really sort of give, or maybe I don't know, I'm assuming that you got to get the iPods from somewhere. Seniors probably just don't have iPods lying around, right? So how does one connect with you to help you out with these things?
The best way is our website. To take a look at that. There's information on songs for seniors, seeds for seniors, as well as all of our other services. There's information about our 3 different buildings and where they're located in town. So that's the best place to start. There's also information on how to get connected as a volunteer and then connect with the program that you'd like to participate with.
That sounds really. Can you give us a couple of examples of those programs? So if people were thinking about volunteering, but I am not musical and I have silk plants in my house, but how can I, if I were interested, what kind of programs or volunteer opportunities do you have?
We have volunteers supporting music therapy coming in. There's volunteers supporting my program in horticultural therapy. They assist me in the gardens, in the greenhouse, and patient treatment groups. We have volunteers that come in and work with the activities department. They're always doing something unique and interesting, and having all hands on deck really does help.
And then with music therapy, I do have people assisting me directly in the music therapy sessions. They don't have to be musical. I tell them that.
Okay.
up front.
Okay, good to know.
So we're in.
So it can be hands-on that way. And then with the Songs for Seniors program, I have some volunteers who come in when I'm not around, and just kind of going through the iPods, making sure they're charged, taking them to the residents who are using them. But the best thing to do is to go to our website, agrhodes.org, and then go under our volunteer, or find our volunteer information there. But outside of the music therapy and horticultural therapy, there's just general visitation with a senior, which can be just very beneficial. I look at it from a music standpoint, where they're bringing 80, 90 years of music to the table, but it's also, that length of time of experience. So just sitting down and talking to them can be so fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have been at this for a little while. So tell us about the impact that working with the senior population has had on you personally, because I imagine that the benefits go both ways.
It does. It really does. I grew up being very close to my great-grandparents, grandparents, a lot of seniors, and it was a natural for me to go into geriatrics, working with older adults. I love their stories. I think that that's a wonderful part of the South, is the storytelling tradition. And I love hearing their stories. I love hearing their anecdotes about gardening and just about their lives. They bring a lot, and it's very enriching for us And it just makes my day. It really does.
I bet you that's another program, Stories from Seniors.
Right.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
you
I'm
go.
telling-
Yeah.
Like the old people have the greatest stories.
They really
They
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
And-
remarkable.
Yeah.
Anytime you get to sit around and have conversations with folks. I was recently home and I was talking to kind of, older generation of folks, and they were enlightening us about some stories. And yeah, it's not what we were expecting, but it was a really interesting perspective on I'm not going to share what it was, but it was just very interesting, and you would only know that by having the conversation.
Yeah.
You
So
hear it all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what? So, John, does it inspire you musically? Do you write music, on your own outside of your work at AG Rhodes? Tell us about the effects on you.
I think the effects on me, because I'm using familiar music with our residents, I have a love for playing other people's music, and I really don't write that much. I adapt at times. I'll take a familiar melody, put some new lyrics to it, but for the most part, I really enjoy playing standards. That the music that I use is varied. It might be some church hymns, it might be some general sing-alongs, it could be some big band music, up to some early rock and roll. It depends what's going to elicit the responses that I'm hoping for and the people that I'm working with.
So we've got just like a couple minutes left. We have to put you on the spot. So sing a little like something, you are my sunshine. You said it was the most popular.
It is. All right.
Okay.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Woo! Awesome.
Thank you.
Wow. And we put you on the spot.
You
I
did.
know. And
I
thank
didn't
you
believe
for
you.
not encouraging a sing-along.
Yes, exactly.
I was giving you the look, but I figured it wasn't going to
No,
happen.
I was
No.
just looking down.
So AG Rhodes, tell us real quickly where you're located, and if someone is in need of your services, again, give us that website address.
We have 3 locations. One is our original location at the corner of Boulevard and I-20, really, very close by. One is on the Wesley Woods Emory campus, and another is right off of Cobb Parkway and I-75. Best way to get the information is agroads.org.
All right. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming in the studio today. We appreciate it. Thank you for giving us, okay, I'm going to try it one more time. Horticultural therapist.
You got it.
It only
All
took me
right.
20 minutes.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much, gentlemen, for coming in. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You're listening to The Good Work Show.